injury-plagued year this year, in the second year of obviously post Stafford Goff trade, but 2 number ones for then, I want to say a 34, maybe 33-year-old Stafford. So if you ask me, back then, leaving Detroit, the same division that Aaron Rodgers is leaving,
Welcome to the greatest show on hardwood.
Left side of the circle, it's money, cold, hard cash for Stephen Curry.
The NBA champions are back to defend their title. And it starts now. This is Warriors Live.
Holy cannoli, that's crazy.
Presented by Xfinity. Supercharge your home with supersonic Wi-Fi. Unbeatable internet, only from Xfinity.
It is Warriors Live. John Dickinson with you on a Sunday morning and on into the afternoon. Good Sunday morning to you here on 95.7 The Game. And Warriors basketball coming your way as it's a big day in the Bay and a big day down in Southern California as the Warriors begin a 3-game road trip. Winners now of 5 in a row, all at home, as they have gotten themselves to a point where they are 34-30, a season high, 4 games over 500 now with 18 games to go on the schedule. And the big news of the day for the Warriors is they're getting a couple of members of their rotation back, including the franchise. That's right, Steph Curry set to return for the Warriors, being out since he was injured on February the 4th against Dallas and missing the last 11 games, with the Warriors able to go 7-4 in those 11 games. But Steph coming back as the Warriors hit the road here for the next 3 and 8 of the next 10, as the big 2 questions surrounding Golden State here as they start this home stretch now with 5 weeks to go until the end of the regular season. 5 weeks from today is the end of the regular season. Where will the Warriors end up? And Steph Curry coming back essentially exactly 4 weeks. It was 4 weeks ago last night that he sustained the injury that wound up keeping him out for these last 11 games, that left superior tib-fib sprain. And so Steph set to make his return in front of the national audience, ABC Sunday Showcase already. Dallas and Phoenix going at it here in the early morning hours out on the West Coast. And they're locked in a good one with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving going at it. And then Steph going up against the Lakers in this matchup as well. And Steph, after not playing in the last 2 matchups, the Warriors actually faced the Lakers twice during this span, where Curry has been out, once without LeBron James, and the Lakers able to get the better of the Warriors in these last couple of games. So John Dickinson here. It is Warriors Live. It is sponsored by Xfinity Internet. Better streaming, Flex 4K device, voice remote, and Peacock Premium, all at no extra cost, no strings attached. The Warriors and the Lakers coming up here this afternoon on 95.7 The Game. The 12:30 tip, and Steph Curry returning after missing the last 11 with that tib-fib sprain. The big headline in this one as we get to the injury report, brought to you by Boxer & Gerson. Boxer & Gerson, Northern California's premier workers' compensation law firm, helping injured workers get their lives back for over 40 years. For more info, visit boxerlaw.com. And we talk about Steph. The Warriors also getting Andre Iguodala back into the fold. That's right. Surprise, surprise. Iguodala been dealing with right hip soreness, and I know he said back in January that his hope is that he could get 10 or 15 games toward the end of the season to build a little bit of a rhythm and a little bit of a cohesion with his teammates as a member of the Warriors rotation without any issues as far as any injuries or being banged up goes. And so we'll see how far Iguodala can make it here between now and the end of the season. I think it's really more of a test case for Iguodala to see if his body can hold up to where he could be any kind of a factor at all here for the Warriors in the playoffs. But regardless, both Andre Iguodala and Steph Curry set to make their returns for the Warriors in this one. Andrew Wiggins remains out due to personal reasons. Gary Payton II out as well, right adductor soreness. He's set to be reevaluated. That date coming up here as we are coming up on a month since Gary Payton was acquired from Portland, and Payton's set to be reevaluated on the 13th, which is only a week away now. And so it seemed like that was forever away with all the drama and the questions surrounding the Gary Payton II injury and how it was handled by Portland and all of that. But the reevaluation point is coming for GP2 here within the next 8 days, a week from tomorrow, as the Warriors beginning a really difficult stretch the next 10 games. So great to have a couple of rotation members back in Steph and Andre Iguodala. Ryan Rollins, the right foot surgery, he remains out as well. We talked about how the Warriors have gotten the brunt of being a little bit shorthanded against the Lakers in these last two matchups, which have also come against the new look Lakers, as the Lakers making a bunch of deals right before the trade deadline to change their mix a little bit in an attempt to try and make a run themselves toward not only the play-in tournament, as you look at the Lakers where they come in right now 30-34, so they've got the inverse record of what the Warriors do right now. They come in at 30-34, and they are on the outside looking in right now, one game out of the final play-in tournament spot behind the Pelicans, and the Warriors had caught the brunt in these last two matchups of being shorthanded. No Curry in either game, no Andrew Wiggins in the game that was the first game out of the break right before the Warriors went on this 5-game winning streak, and the Lakers getting caught a little bit. If you remember back in that game in Los Angeles, coming right out of the All-Star break on February 23rd, which ironically was the Warriors' last road game. In fact, the Warriors' last two road games, I pointed this out a little bit here, Warriors' last two road games have been at the Crypt in Southern California, and they played the Lakers coming out of the break, Crypto.com Arena, the official day. They played the Clippers going into the break, and then the 5 home games in between, so another trip down to play in Los Angeles. One more game against the Clippers coming up in about a week and a half. But the Warriors didn't have Steph, didn't have Wiggins. The Lakers caught as we finish up the injury report here tonight, where the Warriors are getting Curry back along with Iguodala, and the Lakers are going to be without LeBron James and D'Angelo Russell. So a lot of these moves, D'Angelo Russell did get injured in that game back on February the 23rd, as the Warriors took on the Lakers, and D'Angelo Russell with the right ankle sprain hasn't played since for the Lakers. And so they've been down LeBron James with right foot soreness, and the report that he could miss up to a month here now with just over a month to go in the regular season. And I think the Lakers really thought they had action as far as making a run, not only to get into the play-in tournament, but potentially to avoid the play-in tournament altogether and vault themselves ahead of the sea of mediocrity that is 7-10, and really, I think 6-13 now, if you want to say Dallas at the 6th spot, currently leading Phoenix, but 33-31 are the Mavs, and that's the 6th spot. So that's the marker and the target, I think, for all of these other teams to try and avoid the play-in tournament. Dallas is now tied with Minnesota. The Clippers are a game back, even though the Clippers have lost 5 in a row, and the Warriors able to handle them going back to a couple of nights ago on the homestand inside Chase Center, Utah, and the Pelicans are in that mix. The Lakers, although they're going to have to do it without LeBron, and today potentially without D'Angelo Russell, the Lakers still very much in that mix, but they're going to have to do it shorthanded. And so on the Lakers side of things, you look at the injury report, Anthony Davis will play with the right foot stress injury. Mentioned LeBron James out, right foot soreness, D'Angelo Russell, right ankle sprain. And so the Lakers going to be without some firepower here, and the Lakers have lost 2 of the last 3 ball games since the LeBron injury, and since they had the win over the Warriors coming out of the break, and then they went into Dallas a week ago Sunday and came back from 27 down, able to win that. But it's been a clunky week for them since, as you look at them losing at Memphis. They did get a win against Oklahoma City. Feels like everybody's beaten Oklahoma City of late. And then they got beat in their return back home against Minnesota the other night, and suddenly Minnesota playing better basketball. They won in Sacramento last night. And all of these teams playing each other, all of these teams beating up on each other, and part of the reason that everything still remains so bundled up, although there has been a little bit of some separation when you look at the Western Conference standings over the course of the last week, with the Kings having that 5-game winning streak before they lost last night. The Suns right now are trying to battle back in Dallas. They got off to an early lead with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker really playing exceptional basketball. And the Mavs have gotten hot from 3 and come back, and they've actually led most of the second and now third quarters of that one as they are underway about midway through the third. 80 for Dallas, 74 for Phoenix, and the Suns currently 4th in the West, a game ahead of the Warriors. So the Warriors are keeping an eye on the Suns here, currently sitting in 5th at 34-30. The Suns, if they obviously could lose today to Dallas, and then the Warriors can get a win, which has been hard for them to come by on the road this season. We'll get to that coming up here in just a minute. But the Warriors have action if they can win. But winning is the key, because Dallas is only a game back of the Warriors. So if you lose and Dallas wins, all of a sudden Dallas is right there with the same record as you in 17 games to go. So it's all really fragile, and the Warriors still find themselves a game clear of the play-in tournament, a game out of 4th, and 3.5 out of 3rd, with Sacramento able to separate here over the course of the last week with their big winning streak before they lost last night to the Timberwolves, who were wrapping up a West Coast trip that saw them lose to the Warriors and beat the Lakers. All right, Warriors Live. We're rolling on here on 95.7 The Game. It's John Dickinson with you, getting you set up for the Warriors and the Lakers here, presented by Xfinity Internet. Better streaming, Flex 4K device, voice remote, and Peacock Premium, all at no extra cost, no strings attached. Good news for the Warriors is Steph Curry returns today. Andre Iguodala available as well. And it sounds like Iguodala is going to be in the Warriors rotation, listening to Steve Kerr's pregame press conference from down in Los Angeles. And what kind of ramifications does that have for Anthony Lamb? I would imagine Anthony Lamb, though nothing official at this point, would be inactive for the Warriors as they try and save that last game among the 50 that he's eligible to play as a two-way player. I know Steve Kerr had hinted the other night that with Curry back, maybe the shooting isn't as important of Lamb, because you're getting the best shooter in the history of the game coming back and available to play. Also, Iguodala's ability to play some minutes, maybe with Jonathan Kuminga off the bench, maybe that helps some of the having a high basketball, steady IQ player playing with Kuminga. It's a little bit different because Iguodala's not the shooter that Anthony Lamb is, but I know Steve Kerr has liked to have Kuminga out there with a higher IQ player and with somebody that can shoot the rock, although Kuminga was terrific on the homestand and terrific with an exclamation point on breathing life into what looked like a tired Warriors team Friday night against the Pelicans, and Kuminga was maybe the Warriors' best player in a lot of cases against the Pelicans, with 19 points and a game-high plus 13 in 32 minutes and a part of the Warriors' closing lineup there. So I would imagine Iguodala being back with Lamb up against his minutes and games limit would lead Lamb to be inactive. The other key question, and one that Steve Kerr didn't address in his pregame press conference from Los Angeles, is who's going to go back into the starting lineup for the Warriors in this game today. We know Steph Curry is going back into the starting lineup, at least you'd think, although traditionally not a lock when Steph obviously has come back from some of these injuries. Even in playoff games, it hasn't been a lock that Steph would go right back in and go into the starting lineup. So remains to be seen. Assuming, though, Steph does go back into the starting lineup and trying to have some fun with some of the hypotheticals. Steve Kerr didn't reveal it, but if Steph does go into the starting lineup, do the Warriors roll with Jordan Poole, or do they roll with Dante DiVincenzo as Steph's backcourt mate? Now, Poole plays well with he's played well with Steph, but those numbers have been mitigated some when it's with Steph and Clay, and obviously Clay back in the fold and playing tremendous basketball really since the calendar turned to 2023, even farther than that. I think going back to the middle of November after a poor first month, but the last 2 months for Klay have been as good as any throughout Klay Thompson's career. So question on the starting lineup. I'm curious to see what Steve Kerr does, knowing the fact that Poole traditionally plays better when he starts, but does he become the super six man to DiVincenzo, who's been able to step in and defend on the wing and really make an impact on the game both ways? Does Steve Kerr stick with him? That's one of the key questions there as well. Could Jonathan Kuminga get some run? Hell, I could even see Iguodala potentially getting out there in the game today for a few minutes as well. But what does Steve Kerr do in the starting lineup? And if Iguodala's in the rotation, that would basically be a 9-man rotation for the Warriors. That would be Steph and Klay. It would be Jordan Poole, Draymond, Looney, Dante DiVincenzo, Iguodala, Kuminga, and JaMychal Green at that point would be 9. I think Ty Jerome could still potentially be active for the Warriors to give them one more guard if DiVincenzo's going to be the kind of player that's going to shift up and potentially play some forward. How do the Warriors balance the DiVincenzo minutes once they are closer to fully whole? I think it's an even bigger question when Andrew Wiggins comes back as well and assumes that starting role at the 3 spot. How do the Warriors balance that and still get a productive Dante DiVincenzo? Because I think as you look at the splits coming in here and the home road splits are something we're going to have to keep an eye on for the Warriors. 7-23 away from Chase, 27-7 at Chase. They've been holding opponents to 100 a game over the last week on this homestand. The defense, the force, the intensity, it's all been there. Warriors also ended up going 14-12 without Steph Curry, 2 over without Steph. They're 2 over with Steph, and that's been a topic of conversation here the last couple of days, just simply the fact that, how do the Warriors, it has nothing to do with Steph, one of the all-time greats, but the others and the way the others have to play and fit their game into specific boxes around Steph, the role players in particular, not Klay, not Draymond, not Wiggins necessarily if he were around, but how does it impact the production that the Warriors have been getting in a positive frame from Jordan Poole? How does it impact the production that they were getting from Jonathan Kuminga? And I think Dante DiVincenzo as well. This Warriors team built better than it has been in previous iterations to withstand time without Steph. I think the Warriors also got a little bit of a favorable schedule in the time that they didn't have Steph Curry. A lot of home games, both back at the end of December when the Warriors were able to hold on without Steph and have a 5-game home winning streak. 5-game home winning streak during this stretch without Steph. 14-12 overall without Steph, and 7-4 after the 2-4 start with all those home games at the back end in these last 11 since Steph Curry has played, going back to February the 4th. John Dickinson rolling on here on 95.7 The Game. It's Warriors Live. It is the Warriors and the Lakers today. No LeBron, no D'Lo for Los Angeles. The Warriors getting healthier. Steph Curry and Andre Iguodala returning. How much of what the Warriors have done at home will translate on the road, where the Warriors play 8 of the next 10 away from Chase Center? It's the Lakers in this game this afternoon. It's Oklahoma City again on Tuesday, and then a game that I think everybody's going to be having targeted, and that's the Warriors' first game in Memphis this season. Warriors going to play in Memphis twice here over the course of the next 13 days, as they will play there on Thursday and then play there on the 18th as well. And all of the drama and everything going on with Ja Morant. Sounds like Ja Morant out for the next 2 games. For sure, I know Ja said he was going to take some time away. The pseudo suspension that wasn't a suspension for the Instagram Live video where he was shown with a gun. And so Ja may not be around for that game. And the Grizzlies suddenly clinging to their number 2 seed. They've been a mediocre team going back to December. The Warriors are going to be up for those games, but today's game, and the Warriors had not played really well in either of these last 2 matchups with the more new-look Laker squad that's featured Vanderbilt and Beasley and D'Angelo Russell, Rui Hachimura as well. No Russell in this one as well. But Anthony Davis has hurt the Warriors and really kind of controlled the game. Dennis Schroeder always plays pretty well against the Warriors as well. And, yeah, the Warriors have struggled with the Lakers twice here in February. We'll see if things can shift as the calendar shifts to March. And we'll see how much of the defensive intensity and the purpose that the Warriors seemingly have found again on the home floor will translate onto the road, because every time the Warriors have gone out onto the road, it's just been bad basketball and bad defense in particular, which has set the tone for bad basketball. There's been some games the Warriors have been able to hang in with their offense, but so many times, even in those games, it's been basically a 50-50 game with 5 minutes to go. And the Warriors, far more often than not, have come up on the short end of the stick in those games on the road. They've come up winners in a lot of those games, as we just saw on this homestand when they've played those games at home. And how much of what the Warriors have done will translate as far as other players getting more opportunities to be able to succeed will roll for the Warriors now that they get Steph back. And Steph typically hits the ground running and is awesome. What do the Warriors do as far as the starting lineup? All things we're going to be keeping an eye on here as the Warriors play the Lakers, then the Thunder, then Memphis. 2 home games. The 2 in the next 10 at home are Milwaukee and Phoenix. Now, Phoenix with Kevin Durant in the fold, and Milwaukee, who just had their 16-game winning streak snapped last night by Philadelphia in what was a terrific ball game in Milwaukee last night, with the Sixers able to come back and get the win in that one. And so some real difficult games before the Warriors go right back out on the road to play the Clippers, Hawks, Grizzlies, Rockets, and then the Mavs, who currently have that 91-85 lead over Phoenix. Final couple of minutes here, Warriors Live on 95.7 The Game. John Dickinson with you. Tim and Jim going to be on the call for this one, and make sure you join me after the game as well, as I will have Warriors wrap-up for you. Be taking your phone calls and your text messages as we react to Game 1 of this 3-game road trip for the Warriors and Steph Curry's return in front of the national audience here on 95.7 The Game as well. Who will take it to the bank? Time for Taking It to the Bank, sponsored by Fremont Bank. Full-service banking, no compromises, and the defense will be the focal point. The Warriors are going to have to be better defensively than they have been on the road, and 115 has been the magic number for the Warriors this season. When they hold their opponents under 115 points this season, they are the best in the NBA in terms of winning percentage, 24-3 when opponents score under 115 points per game. That is the best record. Denver, number 2 among those teams. So the defense and the force has to be there. The purpose, the desire that has been there in a lot of these home games. That's the biggest key, and that's how the Warriors take it to the bank in this one. Sponsored by Fremont Bank, full-service banking, no compromises. All right, that'll do it for me. Again, join me after the ball game for Warriors wrap-up, 888-957-9570. We'll be taking your phone calls and reacting to this one. But coming up next, should be a good one. It's the Warriors and Steph Curry's return. Andre Iguodala as well, as they take on the Lakers from down in Southern California. And you will hear it all right here on your home for Golden State Warriors basketball. It's 95.7 The Game.
When it comes to your tax refund, think biggest, as in Jackson Hewitt guarantees your biggest refund or your money back plus $100. Limited time offer for new clients filing at participating locations. Max value $200. Visit jacksonhewitt.com/50 for terms.
Her words weren't written under peaceful shade, but under fear for her life.
I don't think of all the misery, but of the beauty that still remains.
The words of Anne Frank continue to fill us with hope. Hope. Pass it on from passiton.com.
Investing is confusing. Dawn raids, triple witching hour, candlesticks, crown jewels, bears, bulls, bear hugs, blue chips. It's one big word salad of uncertainty. Fortunately, Fremont Bank now has incredible rates on their savings accounts and CDs. And while savings accounts and CDs may not be known for their great rates at your current bank, at Fremont Bank, you can get great rates from a great local bank. To learn more, stop in or visit us online. We'll explain it all in plain language. Fremont Bank, serving the Bay Area since 1964. Member FDIC.
We're on a journey to make healthcare more accessible and more equitable, to treat the most complex diseases and offer hope where often there is little, to provide better care to more people across the Bay Area. We are more than a hospital, more than a university, beyond science and technology. We are the people of UCSF. UCSF